It's Frieren Friday, sort of. This episode was absolutely spectacular, so let's just waste no time in getting into it. So this episode starts out with a bit of a character building for Genau, beyond what we knew of him as a proctor in season 1, of course. Serier has assigned Methode to be his partner after his previous partner's death, which eventually leads to him asking Methode a rather serious question of if he is a good person, for he sees himself as not one as his partner was killed. And we see that Genau was lost in the differences between the two, in that his partner was outgoing and people were drawn to him naturally, but for him, it was quite the opposite. He didn't have such luck. In fact, it was he who feels got his partner killed, which plays into episode 6 with Genau feeling that what happened to the people in his village was in some way due to his actions, or at least something that he didn't do to help. Which then leads to Methode to ask him the meaning behind the strange decisions to pair them both up, which leads to Genau telling her it was all Serier's rather odd decision-making, as even he realized it would have been much better to send him and Yubel together, seeing as the region is so dangerous. And you know, I was thinking about this, and if I were Serier, I think I would put Genau with someone more emotional and soft, like Methode, simply because it balances out the two. Genau is a character who seems to love being in his head and is inwardly emotional, while Methode seems more at peace with herself and who she is, as evident by her elf fetish.
Psst, but speaking of, you know that new art they put out of Methode head patting Frieren and Serier? Oh my god, that was absolutely done on purpose. They knew what they were doing.
When you pair two seemingly polar opposites like that, there is a better balance than just pairing up two emotionally dead people to go on a killing spree. Sometimes you need the dynamic of Genau and Methode clashing a bit to keep things moving forward. So I think she was cooking with this pairing and thought long and hard about it, and I think she was right. So Methode runs down all of the information they have on this demon who slaughtered the village, filling them all in about the demon's 4 arms and how it was likely able to fell the village so easily. While this is happening, it's revealed the demon who did this is named Lord Revolte, and they know just exactly where they are now at the village, and even says that all of this is going according to their plan, because they plan to prey on the human, which is Genau, who will stay behind to guard the corpses. All the while, we get the classic showcase of the nature of demons and how their own weakness is their stupidity and arrogance, not even trying to understand why humans do the things they do. However, Revolte does tell the little demon child with him that there is a demon who does study humanity and why they act the ways they do. Now, here is such a fantastic part of this episode. Genau tells Stark that he is a good person and that he is otherwise. However, Stark, on the other hand, says that he doesn't feel that way as he ran when his village needed him, and Genau much the same in that he has forsaken many in the past and did things selfishly without regard for others. But what I think makes this pairing so great is that you can tell through subcontext that they both have good instincts for doing good things. Stark felt it was bad that he ran, which is an admission that he shouldn't run because he felt he was powerless. Genau only stayed in the village to protect the corpses because he felt that he should, which means his instinct was to protect the dead. I think both characters deal with this idea that their instincts are these bad things. They have a strong sense of self-preservation, which on its own merits isn't some evil thing like they think it is. It all comes down to how they both learn and grow from these examples in their lives. The truth is that both of them are the good guys. They work with the good guys while they are both fully cognizant of their weaknesses. The only things they're missing is someone to tell them they're doing a good job in a way where they can believe it. Or one of the other myriad ways they need to experience that so they can get to some sort of overall balance with themselves. But even then, you could argue that this is the inner turmoil that creates a bountiful harvest of the soul. In other words, the conflict within that creates the diamonds necessary to become a truly great individual. It's the realization that they aren't perfect, and that perfection isn't even real or exists. but through that creates a desire to be more perfect. Back with the girls, a much less serious conversation is underway, or to Fern, the most serious of all conversations. Methode wants Frieren head pats, but Fern refuses to let her daughter be touched by the likes of someone like her. And on top of that, Frieren wishes not to be patted upon the head, as she is, a mature lady. But Methode knows fully what makes Frieren tick: eccentric and goofy spells. This time, she offers Frieren a spell which prevents eggshells from getting into eggs when they are cracked. Now, I must level with you, viewer. I literally experienced this same thing happening this morning and yesterday. It drove me up the wall, which ended up in the destruction of a nearby major city. And that's all it took, and Methode got her head pats. And not just head pats, but hugs too, and apparently whatever she wants at that, which is just an open invitation to hand-holding, and we know this, but as Mama Fern gets mad about a mature woman trying to take her daughter away from her and nearly ripping her in half, two demons make their appearance before them as things get rather serious. And as they attack, we see Methode expertly weave herself in and out of harm's way of individual attacks, while Fern makes an interesting observation, and that demons usually only study one type of magic. But these demons are using multiple types of magic. The pressure is really getting to Fern here, who believes one of the demons is a stronger mage than she is. But even so, Frieren reassures her that not even first-class mages are as dedicated to the fundamentals as she, so she can still beat them. This shows the utmost trust that Frieren still has with Fern, even when they are being pressured by demons, who Frieren says are fighting as if they are in the Demon King's army. But while this is happening, the boys, they're eating fish, or rather Stark is the only one eating fish because Methode won't allow Genau to eat at night. This is funny because even Stark tells Genau not to tell Fern, as she won't allow him to do that either. But he then reveals to Stark that the demon, the divine Revolte, is the one who killed his partner. Here it is revealed by Genau that this demon has the ability to manipulate the weight of the swords he creates with magic by making them light as a feather or heavy as your mother, at need. And these swords are called divine cleaving swords, which is named in lore after swords that apparently cleaved a mountain. Now, this is the part where we open up a can of S+ tier whoop-assery in this bitch. Revolte makes his appearance and confronts the two, who are more than ready to take on this demon. In fact, so much so that Genau uses his magic, which summons Black Angel Wings, a spell to manipulate Nilo wings. This was absolutely one of the best endings to an episode this season, simply because it was just cool. It was a twist that came out of nowhere. And it's rather odd, in my opinion, how often demons they're like built up as this major threat. And just as it seems that there is no hope, human mages always come out on top, despite underestimating themselves in the case of Fern. I think this mostly goes to show how powerful first-class mages are, but also showcases that humanity is simply smarter than demons. Demons are stupid, as evident by Revolte not even trying to understand why a human acts the way they do. And if they did try to understand, like this mysterious demon mentioned in this episode, then maybe they would have a shot at felling humanity. And they still may, because that is the nature of demons. Just as how demons underestimate humans, humans absolutely must not underestimate demonkind. That is a cardinal sin that must not be committed. I'm not gonna lie, I really enjoyed this episode and came out loving Gennow and Methode's characters and dynamic. More so, Gennow, who reminds me so much of Stark. I feel like he himself is carrying this massive burden on his shoulders and is locked in contemplative thought almost all of the time because of it. I don't think this is a bad thing for him to do, mostly because it seems he needs to work through what he perceives as his own weaknesses. But I also think that what he thinks is weak is actually his strength. A dual-edged sword, but both sides are just as sharp, or at least should be. That in turn can create an internal balance for him, which is partly why I think him being paired with Methode is really smart, and also because it gets more chances for us to see Methode. But she comes off as unserious in the presence of Genau, though I think Methode is more or less the same kind of person that Genau is in a way. Except with Methode, she wears her emotions like a comfortable blanket, and Genau more like a cross to bear. In a sense, they're both quite open with who they are, though. You can tell by their looks the types of people they are. I also thought for just a moment, though, that this episode hinted at the two being a little bit of a romantic pair in the future, because Methode won't allow him to eat food at night, which he obliges, much like how Stark does with Fern, and we all know that those two are a thing. So is that a hint? I don't know. Either way, the more things change, the more they stay the same or something. These demons need a chill pill and some proper education. Thanks for watching. You can check out my other content here for more of my thoughts on Animus. Make it a great day or not, the choice is yours.